What's up, everybody? This is Jose with Oakland Latinos United, aka Oakland Latinos Unidos, the voice of the Latino community in the Bay Area, California, YouTube, and beyond. Well, I'm out here in beautiful nature, beautiful park out here, people fishing, people hanging out. This is actually in the East Bay, one of the many beauties of the Bay Area that a lot of us take for granted and forget actually exist. I'm not in a far off land. I'm down the street from my house in a beautiful land. But anyway, I want to make a video today because I haven't made a video in a while, and I want to talk about the situation that happened with George Floyd and all the protests that happened. I know it happened about almost a month ago, about 3 weeks ago, but I wanted to give my 2 cents about it because I've been wanting to and I just haven't had a chance. And today that I've been able to clear my head and I'm not really that busy, I can talk about it. But the situation with George Floyd was pretty unfortunate. And, most of you, I'm pretty sure, know about what happened. It happened out in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I don't know much about that state. I know there's St. Paul and Minneapolis, 2 cities, the Twin Cities. And I know they have a funny accent out there. You betcha! Or something like that. But apparently, what happened was George Floyd, who I believe was 47 years old, originally from Texas, was involved in an incident where I guess he was at a liquor store at a market and he was trying to sell or buy something or use a $20 bill that was fake or counterfeit. Police were called. A situation happened and he was wrestled to the ground, and the main perpetrator, David Chauvin, I think that's his name, had his knee on his neck for about 8 minutes and something seconds, and he ended up dying. And that's a very unfortunate situation, very cruel. You know what I mean? No matter what way you look at it, whether he was doing, whether he had a counterfeit bill or not, it's not. No one should be killed. Especially, I've seen the videos of different angles, and it doesn't seem like he was resisting arrest or trying to fight them. You know what I mean? And to have somebody's knee on somebody's neck for 8 minutes and something seconds is cruel and unusual punishment. There's really no ground for it. I could understand maybe putting maybe if they put his knee on his neck for a few seconds if he was resisting, but it doesn't seem like he was resisting of anything. He was saying, "I can't breathe," crying for his mom, and he passed away. So the reports of the coroner, there's 2 of them, say that he died of asphyxiation, that he was high off fentanyl and other, I think, methamphetamine, I believe. I could be wrong, but go look it up. You know what I mean? I really don't know the details. But also, the trauma from having a cop put his knee on your neck, I'm pretty sure caused him to die as well. That was probably one of the big factors. You know what I mean? Because that's asphyxiation. If you choke someone or you do something with someone's neck where you're putting your whole body weight on someone's neck, that could break your neck or choke you, one of the two. So, yeah, what he did was fucked up, for sure. There was no grounds for it, and, none of the other cops did nothing to try to stop it. I believe one cop was Asian. One was, I believe he was a light-skinned black guy. And I think there was another white cop. There was 4 cops or 5, something like that. And none of them did nothing to try to stop the situation. After maybe a minute, they could have told him, "Hey, bro, get off his neck." You know what I mean? Just something. That cop fucked up. You know what I mean? He fucked up badly. And it cost him his career, and he's in jail, and he might even go to jail. He might even not go to jail. He is in jail. He might be charged with murder. But, I would say my 2 cents on it was a great wake-up call to police brutality. And I know there's a lot of people who are going to say police brutality ain't real. People shouldn't be committing crimes. People shouldn't put themselves in crime. George Floyd himself was a criminal, had a criminal past, and so forth. And, I agree with those. People shouldn't be committing crimes. People shouldn't be putting themselves in situations where the police are going to harass them, mess with them, or possibly kill them, you know what I mean? And I made videos about that in the past, you know what I mean? Because as a person of color, black or brown, your chances of surviving a police encounter, especially a serious police encounter, could be slim, you know what I mean? As far as George Floyd himself, I don't know the man. I don't know much about him. I don't consider him a martyr of any type like maybe some other people do. You know, I just consider him to be a victim of an unfortunate situation. Whether he had a criminal past or not, you know, that's not for me to judge. You know what I mean? If he did a criminal past, you know, the things he was accused of, he did them. He did his time, and he got out of jail. You know what I mean? According to some people, it seemed like he was trying to change his life, but maybe got caught up in some unfortunate situations. It happens. I grew up in the hood, and I know way too many dudes who clean themselves up, and then they end up back in the life of crime sometimes. I'm not excusing it, but it's a fucked up situation. You know what I mean? But still, regardless of what his past was, it doesn't warrant for you to be a judge, jury, and executioner. You know what I mean? Especially if you're a cop, you know? The law doesn't work that way. And, you know, the thing is, the reality check of this situation is, you know, we have something in this day and age that cops were not expecting in the past. When those are camera phones. Camera phones have become the tool against police brutality, and I'm pretty sure cops hate the fact that camera phones exist, because now you can film their every move, every interaction whenever they're on the streets, and there's really nothing they can really do to stop you from filming. You know, I think as long as you're not interrupting the arrest or the, you know, whatever situation, they can't stop you from filming. You know, there was protests, there were riots, there was looting. Here in the Bay Area, there was a lot of looting that happened. There were several protests in Oakland and San Francisco, even in Walnut Creek. You know what I mean? And my thing on rioting and looting, you know, I'm not a big proponent of looting. You know, I could understand these are tough times. And, you know, there's a lot of people who are opportunists, and they're going to take any opportunity to go loot or steal shit. You know what I mean? And as far as the protesters, I commend them. I don't have nothing against anyone protesting. Protesting is a freedom, is one of your constitutional rights. It's a constitutional freedom. You have a right to assembly. You know what I mean? So I'm not ever going to say that someone's in the wrong for protesting. Even if I don't agree with what they're protesting, whether I disagree or agree with whatever protest it might be, and I'm not just talking about George Floyd, I'm talking about whatever, I'll never say that you don't have the right to protest, because you do have the right to protest. And anyone who says that you don't is a hypocrite and needs to shut their mouth. You know what I mean? And that's just plain and simply. I don't care if you're on the right or the left. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's a wake-up call. I hate to say it, you know what I mean? I'm not a big anti-cop person myself, but there are some cops out there that are fucking assholes and overstate their boundaries and abuse their authority. You know what I mean? They look at a black or brown or even poor person, white or any other race, and they want to treat you like shit. They want to treat you like a criminal. They want to automatically assume you're already one thing, and they don't even know if you are or aren't. Unless they know that you have a criminal past, how do they know? You know what I mean? I think a lot of cops have the attitude of it's us against them type of mentality, and that's kind of a detriment, I think, to the police force, because the us against them, basically, it's them against everyone else. So that means us, the people, are their enemies in their eyes. You know what I mean? But it's a wake-up call to police brutality. Now, I know there's people saying defund the police. There's people saying abolish the police. You know what I mean? And I don't know about abolishing the police. I don't know. You know what I mean? I've seen in other places where the police are either abolished or corrupt, and it's just straight up anarchy. People are getting lynched. People are getting killed. It's like mob justice. Do you really want that? I always tell people to say that. Be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it, and you might end up with something a lot worse than what we have now. As far as defunding some of the police, I think I agree with some of it. Yeah, we should defund some of the police. I think we should reform the police. I think we need to get away from being militarized, because the police has become militarized, and I've talked about it in many videos in the past, especially after 9/11. It seems like the police has been militarized. You know what I mean? It's like an occupying military force instead of a police force sometimes, it feels like. And it's just a great wake-up call. You know what I mean? People protested in in Minneapolis. People protested out here in the Bay Area. People protested all over the country in New York. You know what I mean? I didn't join any of the protests because I'm not really into that anymore. I'm not a protester. I'm not an activist type of person anymore. You know, that those days are done with me. You know what I mean? But I commend those who have and those who are fighting the fight. You know, it's cool. I have nothing against them. You know what I mean? Just don't be mad at me because I didn't go. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But those people that want to keep fighting the good fight, you know what I mean? It's all good. Keep fighting the good fight. But I just didn't participate. As far as reforming police, holding police accountable for bad situations, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? As far as us as people of color, black and brown folks, poor people, you know, as far as us staying away from criminal behavior, criminal things, putting ourselves in situations where the police are going to fuck with us, kill us, or damage us, or throw us in jail, we have to start working on preventing ourselves from being in those situations. And that starts at home. That starts with parents. That starts with elders. That starts with guidance. You know what I mean? And without that, we're always going to be lost souls or lost people. You know what I mean? Caught up in bullshit. But, you know, 2020 has been a crazy year, man. Coronavirus, lockdowns. You know, the economy looks like it's going down the drain. I think a lot of the George Floyd protests were big the way they were because people were just frustrated. People wanted to go out. People, you know, are losing their jobs. People are losing their livelihood. You know, companies are going down the drain. So there was a lot of frustration out there, and a lot of people wanted to vent. That's what I think it was, a lot of it. Would the protests have been so big if the coronavirus wasn't going on? I don't know. You know what I mean? Could be. You know what I mean? But, you know, David Chauvin, what he did was fucked up. Regardless of what you think about George Floyd, I don't think highly of him personally. You know what I mean? But I don't think he should have died. I don't think he should have been killed that way. I don't think, he should have been choked to death, basically. You know, judge, jury, and executioner. I think if he did commit a crime, he should have went to jail and he should have been charged with whatever crime, and hopefully he would have learned from that. You know what I mean? But that'll never happen. And yeah, to me, it's just I just look at it as it's a great wake-up call. There is police brutality out there. There are cops out there who are fucking assholes. There are cops who abuse their authority. There are cops who have the me against them mentality. And there are militarized cops out there. You know what I mean? And I think something has to change in order for there to be better relationships either with the police and the community or for police brutality to not be a thing, or police corruption. And what that is, I don't know. I can't tell you what it's going to be, but I support the protests. You know what I mean? I support, you know, justice for George Floyd, and I support the cop being in jail and being held accountable. And that's my 2 cents on it. As far as like the looting and mob violence and stuff like that, I can't say I support that fully, but I understand where it's coming from. Being a poor person from the hood, you know, growing up in poor situations, growing up in poor communities, I can understand the frustration, and I could understand what it's like to be harassed by police, because I have been harassed by police in times past, and it's not a cool thing. I have been profiled, and it's not a cool thing. So I just hope things change. I hope this is a great wake-up call. Sometimes bad things bring positive situations at times, and hopefully this is one of them. That's all I have to really say. This is Jose, Oakland Latinos United, late.